Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe my channel. The old studio was a ghost of its former self. Taped up cables snaked across the floor where a vibrant, swirling rug had once lain. Cardboard boxes, gaping and half-filled, sat where two plush armchairs had faced the world each morning for 30 years. For Arthur Pendleton, it was like watching his own memories being packed away. He ran a hand over the surface of the main anchor desk, its polished wood scarred by decades of coffee cups, frantic scripts, and the steady weight of his forearms. He could almost hear the echo of the 5-minute warning, the controlled chaos of the control room, the steady, calming voice of his late co-host, Margaret, in his earpiece. "They're waiting for you in the new studio, Art." The voice belonged to a young woman named Chloe, his new co-host. She stood in the doorway, her presence both a comfort and a reminder of the relentless march of time. She was brilliant, sharp, and carried a kind of digital native confidence that both impressed and mystified him. "Let them wait a moment longer," Arthur said, his voice a low rumble that had guided millions through tragedies and triumphs. "This old place has a few more stories to tell." Chloe stepped inside, her sneakers silent on the dusty floor. She didn't rush him. She simply observed, her eyes taking in the skeletal remains of the set. "It's hard to believe this is where it all happened," she said softly. "The election nights, the morning after the millennium, the day of the attacks." Arthur nodded, his eyes fixed on the empty chair across from his. He could see Margaret there, her steady gaze, the slight, reassuring nod she would give him right before they went on air. "We weren't just reading the news here, Chloe. We were a part of people's lives, their breakfast companion, the voice that started their day." He walked to the back wall where a patch of paint was slightly less faded than the rest. He said, "The world map used to be here." He pointed to the place. "We'd point to the places we were talking about. Made it feel real, tangible. Now it's all holograms and green screens," Chloe said, not with judgment, but with a simple statement of fact. "Indeed," Arthur sighed. "I suppose my kind of tangibility is becoming obsolete." Chloe moved to stand beside him. "It's not obsolete, Arthur. It's the foundation." She pulled out her phone and with a few taps brought up a clip. It was from his first year on the air. A much younger Arthur, his hair dark and his tie impossibly wide, conducting a gentle, heartfelt interview with a child author. His style was slower, more conversational. He gave the silence room to breathe. "See?" Chloe said, her screen glowing in the dim light. "You weren't just reporting, you were connecting. That's what people remember. That's what I'm trying to learn." Arthur looked from the young, earnest face on the tiny screen to the wise, empathetic woman beside him. The ghost of Margaret seemed to smile. The baton wasn't being snatched. It was being offered and received with respect. He turned his back on the empty chairs and the scarred desk. "All right then," he said, his voice finding its old firm timbre. "Let's go see this new fortress of yours. I hear the coffee machine can make a latte that talks back." Chloe laughed, the sound bright and hopeful in the hollow room. As they walked out, Arthur took one last glance over his shoulder. The past was a beautiful, settled country, but the future was a live broadcast waiting to begin. He followed his new partner down the hall not as a relic being put out to pasture, but as a cornerstone moving forward to support what came next. The voice of the past was ready to greet the morning once again.